Hey guys, Ryan here. Just walking my bike here down the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder here. Just if you've never been here, it's a nice place to come visit. Alright, your life's purpose. That's a big one, huh? What is your life's purpose? I get questions every day from people. How do I know what my life's purpose is? Do we have a life's purpose? The answer to that one is yes. Most definitely. Most definitely. Okay? But you can't achieve your life's purpose, or you can't discover, find, become who you were meant to be until you choose consciously to get off the hamster wheel of life. Trying to find my way here. I'm gonna sit down right here. So I'm trying to find my way. Everybody is, right? Because if you're not feeling like you're living your life's purpose, then you're not. It's kind of simple. So like I always say, I like to keep things very simple and surgical and just basically tell you how to find your life's purpose. So one way to know it in advance of what your life will look like once you're able to work through your unresolved emotions, and that is the way to become who you were meant to be, is to work through the unresolved emotions that are in your body. Okay, Michael Brown calls it the emotional body. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. Okay, but it's basically there's bound up and constricted energy from your upbringing that we all have that you are mostly numb to now. You're unaware of. It's been suppressed. It's been pushed away as you grew up. You don't even know it. It's totally unconscious. And then as life starts to bring you stress and turmoil, once you get into your adult years and things aren't just going right, that's your opportunity to go inward and work through it and open your heart, and you come alive. It's like a flower. I use a flower analogy a lot. So I use the analogy of a flower unfurling. And so when you haven't resolved your emotional body, or you haven't worked through your unresolved emotions, it's like you're a flower that's like this, and it wants to, and when a flower is bloomed, doesn't it just look so beautiful and at peace? And that's when all of its colors are showing and all of its sacred geometry of its shape, and it just looks like it was meant to be. And if you are wanting to know what your life's purpose is, it's because you're like this and you're stuck like that. You know, it's still a flower, nothing wrong with it, and it could stay like that forever. And who would ever tell it that it's bad or wrong? Or who would ever come up to the flower and say, you need to open right now? Because if you try to open that flower, guess what? Or if anyone else tries to open that flower, it's like with me, I'm just a guide. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to tell you that you need to be different at all, because that's the beauty of this journey, is that I see you as perfect just the way that you are. With all of the aspects of yourself that you might consider imperfections, I can accept them fully and see you for who you are and say, hey, you're great. And that's kind of the paradoxical way to your life's purpose, is learning to accept who you are. And as you learn to accept who you are and accept the parts of yourself that have been pushed away and ignored and shamed and pushed on and all that stuff when you were growing up, in that acceptance of yourself comes the true, genuine unfurling and inside-out transformation. So it's like a paradox, like all the beautiful things in life. It's like a paradox. Okay, so how do you find your purpose? Well, really what I think of as your purpose is all your hopes and dreams. They will come true. They're your hopes and your dreams. Your particular version of what you would love your life to be lights you up and brings you alive and resonates with you and vibes with your very being, because that is what's available to you on the other side of going through the fire. Okay, it's so true. I know it can be hard to believe, and it might seem pie in the sky. It might seem, I don't know, religious or magical or voodoo or something like that, but I just know it to be true because it's my own experience, and I have other people in my life who have the same experience. So here's what you can do. Sit down in quiet. Relax. Like I always say, spend some time alone and just start to feel into the silence and start to spend time with your intention of conjuring up what feels best to you. What do you want to be when you grow up? What would you love to do with your time, right? I always say only two real assets that we have are our time and our attention. Time and attention. So what is it that you would love to spend and to give your time and your attention to? Because if you're not feeling complete and fulfilled right now, it's because you are giving your time and attention to things that don't excite you. Okay, and that's okay. That's okay. You're fine just the way you are. Okay, but you can change and you can become that beautiful flower just by going inward. So sit in quiet and think of what excites you? What do you see yourself doing? Envision that. What do you see yourself doing day to day? When you wake up in the morning, when you're living your purpose, what are you doing? Who are you around? Where do you live? Okay, what are you feeling? And that's such a key to this, is feel the feelings associated with what that would be like. Imagine you wake up one morning, okay, and your significant other comes in who you're just totally in love with, and they say, hey, today's the day that we go to Hawaii for vacation. You're like, oh yeah, there's a limo waiting for us outside. Oh great, you go outside and there's a limo, and you open up the limo, and then inside the limo are some of your best friends. What does that feel like? Okay, what does that look like? Who's there? Who do you want there? And basically just conjure up what you want to do with your time and your attention and feel into the feelings that are associated with that, because you literally are manifesting that, okay? It's already there for you to have. That's why you see it. Whoa. It's getting really windy. So how does that feel? Does it feel too good to be true? Does it sound too good to be true? For most people it does. For most people at this point, when the flower's closed up, there's this sense of like, well, I can't have that. And if I start to hope for that, I'll only be let down. Okay, so all I'm saying is get into that quiet and dream big. Just kind of come up concretely with a vision of what would you do right now if there were no negative consequences for quitting your job, for leaving whatever bad relationship you might be in, or just whatever. What would it look like? Where would you go? What would you do? And then what I invite you to do, and this is where it gets really fun, is a couple days later or even like later that night is revisit the whole vision and make it even better and feel the feelings of what that would be like to go on a trip to Hawaii. You know, this is kind of me thinking of like what I see in my not too distant future. Just friends and fun and doing the things that I'm good at, like I'm doing right now. I feel like I'm living my purpose right now, just to share my heart, share my experience. And it helps other people from what I hear, but I just do it because it's what's coming, it's what's happening. Someone asked me, why do you do what you do, the other day? A guy named Nick. He's like, why are you doing what you're doing now? And I said, you know what? The only thing that comes to mind is because it's happening. And here it is. No agenda. No agenda, no needs, okay? All right, so your purpose now, how do you get to that? Well, once you've conjured it up and once you've gotten the excitement, start to feel the possibility in it. Give yourself permission to feel, could that possibly be true? Could my wildest dreams and what I really would love to do with my life, could it be? Conjure it up, feel into it, and then the path is what I talk about in all of my messages, all my talks. It's the path of healing your unresolved emotional being that is in you, your inner child. And it's not that complicated. Okay, it's very challenging. It can be very uncomfortable. It's not easy, and it right now is very counterintuitive because you're running on a program that says, you know, the future is to be feared, or, you know, bad things could happen if you don't do the things you're supposed to do, if you don't follow the rules. And that's okay. I was there too. I was definitely there. I was a huge rule follower. Wow, one of the best rule followers. And it served for the time, but when you decide to step out of that, you know, think of like a bunch of people all locked together and kind of living like all kind of like, you know, wrapped around each other and all telling each other, you know, what the rules are, and if people don't follow the rules then somebody gets uncomfortable and everybody kind of holds them down. Well, when you start to go inward and feel your feelings and work through your unresolved emotions, it's kind of like you're letting go, and people get uncomfortable. They're like, no, you can't do that. Don't leave us. They feel like you're abandoning them. And then you rise above rise above and you become your own person. And then in that, your purpose will open up just like that flower. Okay? You don't have to work at that thing. You don't have to work at going towards that thing, running to make your life purpose happen. Your life purpose will spring out of you. Okay? It's like a geyser, you know, like when the ground gets tapped into and phew, oil or water like shoots out of it. Okay? That's like your purpose will spring out of you as you learn to go against the grain that is numb to emotions and ignores the feelings. And you break free and you come alive, okay? Now, from when I started on this journey until I really landed in a place of knowing, like, oh, I'm where I've been looking. This is what I've been looking for. It took me about 2.5 to 2 3/4 years, just to give you an idea, you know. And everybody's different. Everybody's different. But I know when I was on my journey and I was seeking and growing, and it was very confusing. I would have loved to have somebody like this looking in my eye and say, "Hey, here's generally about how long it can take, and here's how you do it." And you know, I found it in different books. You know, there's a fantastic book that sets this whole thing up conceptually. But the work is emotional work, okay? So you can't read books to get here. You know, you can't do things to get where you want to be. You can learn about it and it can support your journey, but the only way on the other side of that fire is through the fire, and your purpose comes to life as you do that. So the book that I'm talking about here is by a guy named Dr. Charles Whitfield, and it's called Healing the Child Within. And he does, I've read, you know, hundreds and hundreds of books on the topic of, you know, personal growth and enlightenment and everything under the sun associated with, you know, finding what we're all looking for, filling that hole, that void that we all have. And I would say that out of the hundreds of books that I read, on a conceptual basis, this book, Healing the Child Within, does the best job of basically just laying out what's going on. And, you know, from a very psychological, scientific standpoint, it's very clear and concise, and I would recommend it for anybody. For anybody. It's so good. So good. All right, so like I always say, you know, where this path starts of finding yourself and becoming your full self is within accepting and owning the knowing deep within you that you're worth it, that you are worthy of walking your own path and blazing your own trail and becoming the person that you were meant to be and not conforming to those around you. Okay? You're good. You deserve it. You deserve the best things in life. You deserve for all of your wildest dreams to come true. Every single one. They are your dreams because they can be your future. How awesome is that? I mean, I hate to be the bearer of amazingly awesome news, but hey, that's what I do. I bring people good news. It's the good news, right? The gospel. Like Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is now. That's what he was telling the people of his time. They were all, the Pharisees were getting all on him because he wasn't following the rules, and you know, you're not praying right and you're not dressing right, and he was like looking around going like, guys, the kingdom of heaven is now. You just don't see it because you're caught up in your mind and you're stuck. And he was saying, you know, the kingdom of God is within. That's what he talked about. It's the same message. It's always been the same message, just in different words. Everyone over the course of history who had a true awakening and experience of enlightenment, they talked about it and they put it in their own words. Eckhart Tolle, he's a guy that's alive today, and he puts it in his own words. There's a book called The Power of Now. It's so great. I love that book. Okay, and like I've mentioned, Michael Brown and The Presence Process. It's another book. It's all talking about the same stuff, just different words. So find the one that's right for you if you want to. See, that's the secret, is you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. You don't want to. You don't have to change. Keep doing exactly what you're doing, but if it's not working for you and you want more, then that's what I talk about. I send messages to those who want more, to those who want a message of good news and truth, because I have it here. And so it comes out, it springs out. My purpose is springing out right now in this very moment. And I love it. I love it. I'm enjoying myself. And you can too. Okay, we're in this together. We really are. And so from my heart to yours, just keep being you. Keep being your awesome self. Keep being your bad self, because you awesome. All right? Love ya.